This dog can identify a criminal in 3 seconds and then get deeply offended a minute later because you went to the kitchen without it. This is the Doberman, one of the smartest, most striking, and most misunderstood dog breeds in the world. When people hear the word Doberman, most immediately picture the same image. A sleek black dog with sharp ears, an intense stare, and the posture of a billionaire's bodyguard from a 90s action movie. It feels like this dog is always guarding something, chasing someone, or at the very least, silently judging whether you look suspicious. And cinema played a huge role in creating that image. For example, in the film The Doberman Gang, Dobermans are literally trained to rob banks. And the movie became popular enough to receive several sequels. Then there's the French crime film Doberman, starring Vincent Cassel, where the breed's name itself became the nickname of a dangerous criminal. By that point, the Doberman had already become associated with danger, speed, and absolute confidence. But here's what's interesting. The real Doberman is nothing like a soulless attack machine. In fact, the breed story began with a very practical problem. In late 19th century Germany lived a man named Friedrich Louis Doberman, and he worked as a tax collector, which already sounds like the kind of job where you'd want something reliable standing beside you. Imagine Germany at that time. Dark streets, long trips between towns, cash and documents in your pockets, and not exactly the friendliest people around. At some point, Doberman decided he needed the perfect dog. Intelligent enough to learn quickly, strong enough to protect him, and loyal enough to never leave his side. The fascinating part is that he didn't simply buy a dog, he essentially created a new breed. German Pinschers, Rottweilers, Hounds, and likely several other breeds were used in the process. Exact records were never fully preserved, but the result was so successful that people across Germany quickly started talking about the new dog. And this is actually rare in the canine world. A breed named after a real person. In 1900, it was officially recognized as the Doberman Pinscher. Later, the word Pinscher was dropped because the Doberman had clearly evolved into its own distinct breed. Its popularity exploded incredibly fast. The American Kennel Club officially recognized the breed in 1908, while the Fédération Cynologique Internationale followed in 1955. Dobermans arrived in the Russian Empire as early as 1902 and were almost immediately used for police and security work. People quickly realized this dog combined speed, intelligence, and control at an almost intimidating level. The Doberman genuinely looks like a dog designed by engineers. It's a large but extremely elegant breed. Males usually stand between 68 and 72 centimeters tall, while females are slightly smaller at 63-68 centimeters. Males can weigh up to 45 kilograms, yet despite the size, Dobermans never look heavy. They look like professional athletes. Short, glossy fur, a deep chest, a lean, muscular body, a wedge-shaped muzzle, and an incredibly focused stare. Many owners joke that a Doberman looks at you like it already knows your phone password and your browser history from the last 5 years. The most recognizable coat color is black and tan. That's the image most commonly seen in movies and advertisements. But the breed standard also allows red and tan Dobermans. Interestingly, some coat colors were later removed from official standards because of associated genetic health problems. For example, blue Dobermans stopped being accepted in some standards during the 1990s. The appearance of modern Dobermans is also gradually changing. In the past, almost all Dobermans were associated with cropped ears and docked tails. Today, however, many countries have banned or stopped requiring these procedures. As a result, natural-looking Dobermans are becoming increasingly common. And honestly, they still look incredibly impressive. But the Doberman's greatest feature is, of course, its intelligence. These dogs consistently rank among the most trainable breeds in the world. Dobermans learn commands extremely quickly, read human emotions exceptionally well, and are capable of making independent decisions in difficult situations. Sometimes a little too independently. This is the kind of dog that can look at its owner with an expression that says, "I understood your command, but honestly, your plan isn't very good." That intelligence is exactly why Dobermans were used for decades in police work, military service, and security operations. They excel in patrol duties, protection work, search operations, and competitive dog sports. Dobermans are especially successful in IPO and other disciplines involving obedience and protection training. During World War II, Dobermans were actively used by the United States Marine Corps as military working dogs. They carried messages, searched for enemy forces, and guarded camps. On the island of Guam, there is even a memorial dedicated to Marine Dobermans who died during combat. The monument is called Always Faithful. And despite this serious reputation, Dobermans often become incredibly affectionate family dogs at home. In fact, very emotional ones. Doberman owners constantly describe the same behavior. These dogs become unbelievably attached to their humans. Many people call them Velcro dogs because a Doberman genuinely does not understand why its owner would move around the house without it. Going to the bathroom? The Doberman follows. Going to the kitchen? It's already there. Sitting down to work? The Doberman believes this is the perfect moment to lie directly on top of you. And here's an important point. Aggression in Dobermans is almost always the result of poor training, bad socialization, or irresponsible breeding. A properly raised Doberman is balanced, controlled, and deeply loyal. That's why modern breeders place enormous importance on temperament. Dogs with unstable behavior are usually removed from breeding programs because personality is critically important in such an intelligent breed. Dobermans were also loved by celebrities. William Shatner, the star of Star Trek, frequently spoke about his love for Dobermans. Marlon Brando owned Dobermans as well. And John Paul Belmondo had a female Doberman named Maya, which honestly makes sense. Dobermans have always attracted people who admire discipline, intelligence, and strong character. But alongside the beauty and intelligence, the breed also faces serious health challenges. The most dangerous is dilated cardiomyopathy, or DCM, a severe heart disease to which Dobermans are genetically predisposed. The condition may show no signs for years before suddenly causing death, even in dogs that appear completely healthy. Research has linked certain forms of DCM in Dobermans to mutations in genes, including TTN. That's why more responsible breeders today perform genetic testing before breeding dogs. Dobermans are also prone to von Willebrand disease, hypothyroidism, hip dysplasia, and wobbler syndrome, which affects the spine. And this is where one important thing becomes clear. Responsible breeding genuinely changes the future of the breed. Modern canine breeding is increasingly focused not just on appearance, but also on health and stable temperament. As for care, Dobermans are actually fairly convenient dogs. Their short coat requires very little grooming, but what they absolutely need is physical and mental stimulation. This is not a breed that enjoys lying on the couch all day. Dobermans are highly energetic dogs that need exercise, training, tasks, and constant interaction with people. Without stimulation, a Doberman becomes bored. And a bored Doberman is basically a natural disaster capable of destroying furniture with engineering precision. That's why training starts very early. Socialization, exposure to people, learning commands, and calmly adapting to the world are all critically important. Dog trainers emphasize that Dobermans respond best to consistent and confident training without cruelty. Physical punishment usually damages the relationship with the dog. A Doberman should respect its owner, not fear them. And maybe that's exactly why the breed remains so popular today. The Doberman combines qualities that rarely exist together: power, elegance, intelligence, speed, and almost obsessive loyalty to humans. This is a dog that can work in the police force, compete in elite sports, guard a home, appear in movies, and still stare at its owner with deep emotional betrayal because the bathroom door was closed without it inside.